The apartment wasn't supposed to be empty. I stood in the doorway with 2 grocery bags cutting into my wrists, staring at the void where our couch should have been, where the television had lived, where Marcus's gaming setup had colonized the corner for 3 years. Gone. All of it. The bags slipped from my fingers. An orange rolled across the hardwood, slow and obscene in the silence. Marcus. My voice sounded small. I hated that. I'd spent 6 months working at the domestic violence hotline, learning to recognize the signs, teaching other women to hear their own fear. And here I was, calling into the dark like a child. The bedroom door was open. Our bed remained stripped bare, mattress naked, his closet gaped empty, mine untouched. On the kitchen counter, an envelope with my name in his handwriting. Sloan, couldn't do it anymore. The debt's too big. They know where you work. Don't look for me. M. I read it 3 times. The words didn't change. The debt. Marcus had promised me he'd stopped. 6 months ago, after I'd found the credit card statements, the payday loan emails, the texts from numbers that called him brother and friend, while demanding $5,000 by Friday. He'd sworn on his mother's grave he was done. I believed him because I needed to. The orange had rolled to a stop against the baseboard. I picked it up, felt its weight, its dimpled skin. Real, solid, unlike everything else. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Sloan Merrick? The voice was male, smooth, with an accent I couldn't place. Not threatening, almost polite. Who is this? A friend of your husband's. We've been trying to reach him. The air in the apartment changed temperature. He's not here. We're aware. A pause. He left you with quite a problem, Mrs. Merrick. I'm not responsible for his debts. Legally? No. The man's voice dropped half an octave. But men like Marcus, they make promises using other people's names. Your name, specifically. My heartbeat filled my ears. I never signed anything. You lived at 1847 Morrison Street for 3 years. You drove a 2019 Honda Civic license plate. Stop. He stopped. I pressed my palm against the counter, feeling the cold granite anchor me. What do you want? $47,000. Or we can discuss alternative arrangements. The number hit me like a fist. I don't have that. We know. Which is why I'm calling instead of visiting. The politeness in his tone felt worse than a threat. You have 72 hours to make contact with your husband and resolve this situation. After that, Mrs. Merrick, the terms change. And if I can't find him, then we'll be in touch about those alternatives. The line went dead. I stood there holding my phone, staring at the empty living room, and felt the future collapse into something sharp and immediate. I didn't sleep that night. By morning, I'd called Marcus 17 times, texted 32, and contacted every mutual friend we had. Nothing. His social media had gone dark. His mother hadn't heard from him in weeks. I went to work because I didn't know what else to do. The crisis center occupied the 2nd floor of a converted warehouse in Old Harbor, floor-to-ceiling windows. Exposed brick, the kind of calculated authenticity that made donors feel good about their tax write-offs. I loved it anyway. Loved the work. The women who called in, voices shaking, finally ready to leave. Finally ready to be afraid and brave at the same time. Today I couldn't concentrate. Sloan. I looked up. My supervisor, Patricia, stood in my cubicle entrance with her arms crossed. You've been staring at that intake form for 20 minutes. Sorry. Bad morning. Her expression softened. Want to talk about it? Not yet. She nodded, squeezed my shoulder, left. I forced myself to focus. Answered calls, processed intake forms, scheduled shelter beds, did the work that mattered. At 2:47 p.m., the power went out. Not unusual, the building's electrical system predated modern code by decades. But when the emergency lights flickered on, casting everything in pale blue, something felt wrong. Patricia appeared in the hallway. Everyone stay calm, probably just a blown transformer. Except the streetlights outside were still working. I moved to the window, looked down at Morrison Street. Traffic flowed normally. The coffee shop across the street blazed with light. Just our building. Sloan. I turned. One of the volunteers, Emma, stood white-faced by the stairwell. There's someone downstairs. Asking for you. My stomach dropped. Who? He didn't give a name. Just said. He said it was about Marcus. I took the stairs slowly, each step deliberate. Buying time to think, to prepare, to become someone who wasn't terrified. The lobby was empty except for the security guard Ray, 63, retired cop, kind eyes, and a man in a charcoal suit. He stood with his back to me, hands in his pockets, examining the community bulletin board like it held secrets. Tall, dark hair, perfectly still in a way that suggested violence sleeping just beneath the surface. Ray caught my eye, gave a small shake of his head. Careful. You wanted to see me? The man turned. I stopped breathing. He was younger than I'd expected, mid-30s, maybe. Beautiful in the way sharp things are beautiful. Roman nose, strong jaw, eyes so dark they looked black in the emergency lighting. A small scar cut through his left eyebrow. Mrs. Merrick. Not a question. He knew. I'm not interested in discussing my husband's business. Neither am I. He took a step forward. I held my ground. I'm here about yours. I don't understand. This building, your workplace. He glanced around the lobby, taking in the donation posters, the resource pamphlets, the photos of smiling women who'd rebuilt their lives. You help women escape dangerous men. Yes, admirable work. His gaze returned to me, and I felt it like pressure. Unfortunately, you've attracted the wrong kind of attention. From who? People who don't appreciate interference in their business models. He said it so calmly, like we were discussing weather, trafficking, coercion. The men your clients are running from, some of them have friends who don't forgive easily. My mouth went dry. You're saying I'm in danger? I'm saying you've been in danger for 6 months. You just didn't know it. He reached into his jacket. Ray's hand moved to his hip. The man pulled out a phone, slowly, and showed me the screen. Photos, dozens of them. Me leaving my apartment, me at the grocery store, me getting coffee, me walking into this building every morning for the past week. Who took these? My voice barely worked. Does it matter? He pocketed the phone. Your husband's debt is real, Mrs. Merrick, but it's also convenient cover for something else entirely. I don't. Your name appeared on a list 3 days ago. A procurement list. He waited for that to sink in. Someone wants to make you disappear. The emergency lights flickered. When they steadied, he was closer. I hadn't seen him move. I can help you, he said quietly. But you need to come with me. Right now. I don't even know who you are. His jaw tightened. For just a second, something human crossed his face. Frustration, maybe, or something like regret. My name is Dante Luciano, he said. And you have approximately 4 minutes before the men who cut your power come upstairs. I didn't move. Couldn't. Every self-defense class, every training seminar, every warning I'd given to the women who called our hotline, they all screamed the same thing. Don't go with him. Dante Luciano watched me process this with something like patience. You're waiting for proof, he said. I'm waiting for a reason to trust you over my own training. A slight smile touched his mouth. It didn't reach his eyes. Smart. But training doesn't account for this particular situation. And what situation is that? The one where the system can't protect you, because the threat is inside the system. Before I could respond, footsteps echoed in the stairwell. Heavy, multiple sets. Ray's hand stayed on his holstered weapon. Sloan. Ray, don't. Dante's voice cut through, calm and absolute. You pull that gun, you die first. She dies second. Those are the rules. Who the hell are you? Ray demanded. Someone who's trying to prevent a bloodbath in a women's shelter. Dante's eyes never left mine. Your choice. Sloan. Them or me. You have about 90 seconds. The footsteps grew louder. I looked at Ray, this man who'd walked me to my car on late nights, who kept photographs of his grandchildren on his desk, who'd worked security here for 8 years without incident. Go upstairs, I told him. Lock the doors. Don't let anyone in. I can't leave you. Ray. Please. He hesitated, then moved. I heard him taking the stairs 2 at a time. Heard the second-floor door slam and lock. Dante's expression shifted. Approval, maybe, or relief. Back door, he said. Now. He moved fast, one hand on my elbow, guiding me through the lobby toward the rear exit. Not rough, but absolutely certain I would follow. We hit the alley as the front door shattered. The sound safety glass turning to ice, cascading across tile, made my legs weak. Keep moving. Dante's voice, low and close to my ear. A black car idled 20 feet away. Sedan, expensive, windows tinted dark. The rear door opened from inside. You're hesitating again, Dante observed. You're asking me to get into a strange car with a strange man while someone destroys my workplace. My voice shook. Yes, I'm hesitating. He stopped, turned to face me fully. In the dim alley light, his features looked carved from marble, hard and perfect, and completely unreadable. I'm not asking you to trust me, he said. I'm asking you to survive the next hour. After that, you can run. You can call the police. You can disappear on your own terms. He paused. But right now, those men are searching the building for you. They will find Patricia. They will find Emma. They will ask questions. My stomach turned over. You're threatening them? I'm explaining consequences. His hand moved to my back, gentle pressure steering me toward the car. You want to protect them? Get in. I got in. The interior smelled like leather and something else, bergamot, maybe, or expensive cologne. A man sat in the driver's seat, older, gray hair, eyes that tracked my movement in the rearview mirror. Dante slid in beside me. The door closed with a sound like a bank vault ceiling. Giuseppe, go. The car moved, smooth and silent. No squealing tires, no dramatic acceleration. Just steady forward motion that felt inevitable. I watched the crisis center shrink in the rear window. Saw figures moving in the lobby, 3 men, maybe 4, searching. They won't hurt your co-workers, Dante said quietly. They're looking for you, not them. You can't know that. I can. Because I know who sent them. He leaned back, one arm stretched across the seat behind me, not touching, but close enough that I felt the heat of his body. Vincent Calabrese, mid-level enforcement for the Moretti family, smart enough to follow orders, stupid enough to think intimidation works better than strategy. The names meant nothing to me. And you? I'm the person the Morettis call when Vincent fails. He said it without pride or shame. Just fact. You're Mafia. Yes. The casual confirmation felt worse than if he'd denied it. I pressed back against the leather seat, trying to create distance. Then why are you helping me? I'm not, yet. Dante pulled out his phone, typed something one-handed. Right now I'm extracting you from an active threat zone. Whether I help you after that depends on what you can offer in exchange. I don't have $47,000. I don't want it. He glanced up from his phone, and for the first time, I saw something other than control in his expression. Curiosity. I want to know why your name is on a procurement list that crossed my desk yesterday morning. I already told you I don't know. Then we're going to find out. He finished typing, pocketed the phone. Giuseppe, the safe house on Harlow Street. The driver nodded. My heart hammered against my ribs. I didn't agree to go anywhere with you. You got in the car. Because you said... I know what I said. Dante's voice stayed level, but something shifted in his posture. He turned to face me fully, and I saw the scar through his eyebrow in detail, now old, deliberate, the kind that comes from a blade held steady. I also said you could run after an hour. I keep my word, Sloane. Always. The use of my first name felt intimate and threatening at once. How do I know that? You don't. He held my gaze. But you knew your husband was gambling. You knew he was lying. You stayed anyway, so you understand that sometimes the devil you know is safer than the one you don't. It was cruel. Accurate. I looked away. We drove in silence through streets I didn't recognize. Old Harbor gave way to the warehouse district, then to residential neighborhoods with tree-lined sidewalks and houses that cost more than I'd make in a lifetime. Giuseppe pulled up in front of a townhouse. Brick facade, black door, window boxes with flowers that someone actually maintained. This is your safe house? I asked. One of them. Dante opened his door. Come on. Inside was worse, or better. I couldn't decide. Hardwood floors, minimalist furniture, art on the walls that looked original, a kitchen visible through an archway, all marble and stainless steel. It looked like a home. That terrified me more than anything. Upstairs, Dante said. Second door on the left. There's a bedroom, bathroom, clothes in the closet. You're a size 6? I stared at him. How? I'm thorough. He shrugged off his jacket, draped it over a chair. Underneath he wore a shoulder holster, the gun sitting against his ribs like a natural extension of his body. You have until morning to decide if you want my help. After that, we talk terms. And if I leave? He met my eyes. Then you leave. But, Sloane? He stepped closer, and I smelled bergamot stronger now, mixed with something darker. Ask yourself why Marcus ran. Not from his debt. From whoever put your name on that list. The words settled into my chest like stones. What aren't you telling me? I whispered. Dante's expression shifted, something almost like sympathy crossing his features before vanishing. Everything, he said. But we'll start with dinner. I didn't go upstairs immediately. Instead, I stood in Dante Luciano's immaculate living room and called Patricia. She answered on the first ring. Sloan, Jesus, where are you? The police are here. The building's a disaster. Are you okay? Is anyone hurt? No, we're fine. But... Her voice dropped. They were looking for you. These men. They turned your desk over, went through your files. What the hell is going on? I closed my eyes. Through the archway I could see Dante in the kitchen, doing something at the stove with the casual competence of someone comfortable in any environment. He wasn't listening, or he was, and didn't care that I knew. Marcus got involved with something, I said carefully. I think it followed me to work. Oh, honey. Patricia's voice softened with the particular sympathy reserved for women whose partners destroy them. I'd heard that tone 1,000 times from the other side. Where are you now? Are you safe? Was I? I looked at Dante. He'd rolled his sleeves up, revealing forearms marked with scars, and what looked like a tattoo disappearing under the fabric. His movements were economical, precise, a man used to controlling his environment completely. I'm with someone who's helping me figure this out, I said. Police? Not exactly. Silence. Then, Sloan, I'll call you tomorrow. I promise. I hung up before she could argue. Dante glanced over. Lying to friends already. That's progress. I didn't lie. You didn't tell the truth. He turned back to the stove. There's a difference, but it's mostly semantic. I moved into the kitchen, kept the island between us. What are you making? Pasta alla grisia. You're hungry whether you admit it or not. He added something to the pan guanciale. My brain supplied uselessly, because apparently I could identify cured pork jowl but couldn't figure out how my life had collapsed in 24 hours. The smell hit me. Rich, salty, perfect. My stomach betrayed me with a growl. Dante's mouth curved. Sit. I don't take orders well, I noticed. He plated the pasta 2 portions, perfect portions, garnished with pecorino and black pepper, like we were in a restaurant instead of a safe house. But you haven't eaten since yesterday morning. The orange in your apartment doesn't count. I sat. He slid a plate in front of me, then took the stool across the island. Close enough to talk, far enough to give me space. We ate in silence for several minutes. The pasta was perfect. I hated that I noticed. Hated that my body relaxed slightly. The immediate panic giving way to exhaustion. Better? Dante asked. Don't what? Pretend this is normal. Pretend we're just having dinner. He set down his fork, studied me. What would you prefer? Should I tie you to a chair? Make threats? Would that feel more authentic? It would feel more honest. No. His voice dropped, taking on an edge I hadn't heard before. It would feel more familiar. You're used to men who perform their power. Marcus played the victim while bleeding you dry. The men at your work, the ones your clients are running from, they perform their violence like theater. He leaned forward slightly. I don't perform, Sloan. I am. And honest violence is quieter than you think. My pulse jumped. Is that supposed to reassure me? It's supposed to help you understand the situation. He picked up his fork again, twirled pasta, with the ease of long practice. You're afraid I'll hurt you. I won't. You're afraid I want something you can't give. I don't. You're afraid you can't trust me. He met my eyes. That one's smart. You shouldn't. Then why am I here? Because someone wants you dead, and I want to know why. He took a bite, chewed thoughtfully. And because you chose to get in the car. That tells me you're capable of making hard decisions when necessary. Or desperate decisions. Sometimes they're the same thing. I pushed my plate away, half finished. The procurement list. What is that exactly? Dante wiped his mouth with a napkin real cloth, monogrammed, the kind of detail that suggested this wasn't just a safe house but his home. Human trafficking operates like any business. Supply chain, distribution network, quality control. The procurement list is inventory. The pasta threatened to come back up. And my name is on it. Was. Past tense. He stood, collected the plates. I removed it. You can just do that? I can do a lot of things. He moved to the sink, started washing dishes by hand. The domesticity of it felt surreal. The question is why you were added in the first place. Women on that list fit a profile vulnerable, isolated, minimal family ties. You don't fit. I have a job, co-workers, friends. Exactly. He dried his hands, turned to face me. You're visible. Removing you creates noise. Questions. Risk. His jaw tightened, which means whoever ordered it either doesn't care about the risk or wants the noise. I don't understand. Neither do I. Yet. He came around the island, moving into my space with that same controlled certainty. I fought the urge to back away. Tell me about your work. The clients you've helped recently. I thought back. Dozens. We intake 5 to 10 women a week. Anyone unusual? Anyone whose partner might have connections? My mind raced through faces, stories, intake forms, then stopped. There was a woman, 3 months ago. She called herself Anna, but I don't think that was her real name. I could see her clearly now, early 20s, Eastern European accent, bruises she tried to hide under makeup. She was terrified, not normal scared, something else. Dante's expression sharpened. Go on. She stayed at the shelter for 2 nights. Then she disappeared. Just walked out in the middle of the night. No note, no forwarding information. I remembered the police report I'd filed, the dismissive detective who'd barely written it down. We tried to find her. She vanished. Did she tell you anything about her situation, who she was running from? She said. I paused, reaching for the exact words. She said her boyfriend imported things, that he had friends in the city government, that if she testified, they'd bury her before trial. Jesus Christ. Dante turned away, ran a hand through his hair. For the first time, he looked unsettled. Did you report this? Of course I did, the police said without evidence. The police are paid to say that. He pulled out his phone, typed rapidly. What else did she tell you? Nothing. She was too afraid. I watched him work, saw the tension in his shoulders. Dante, what does this mean? He looked up, and I saw something in his eyes I hadn't seen before. Fear. It means, he said quietly, that you didn't just help a random trafficking victim. You helped someone escape from the Volkov Bratva. He pocketed his phone, and they don't forgive. Ever. The room tilted. I need you to tell me everything, Dante said, moving closer. Every word she said, every detail you remember. Because if the Volkovs think you know something, if they think you have information that could expose their operation, they'll kill me. No. His voice was gentle, which somehow made it worse. They'll make you wish they had. I told him everything, not because I trusted Dante Luciano, but because the alternative facing the Volkov Bratva alone was worse than any danger he represented. We moved to the living room. He poured me whiskey without asking if I wanted it. I drank without tasting. Anna came in on a Tuesday, I said. Late afternoon. She had a black eye, 2 cracked ribs, cigarette burns on her forearms. Dante listened without interrupting, his body angled toward me from the opposite end of the leather couch. Close enough to focus, far enough to give me room to breathe. She said she'd been in the country for 8 months. Came over on a work visa that turned out to be fake. Her boyfriend, she called him Alexei but never gave a last name. He kept her passport, her identification. Told her she owed him $30,000 for the visa, the apartment, everything. Classic debt bondage. Dante's voice was flat. What else? She mentioned a warehouse. Said Alexei brought girls there sometimes. That she'd seen. Things. She wouldn't elaborate. I took another sip of whiskey, felt it burn. The night she disappeared, she told me she'd made a mistake coming to us. That Alexei had people everywhere. Inside the police, inside social services. Did she say specifically who? No. But she was terrified of a detective. She saw him through the window and almost had a panic attack. I closed my eyes, tried to visualize the moment. Older guy, gray hair, drove an unmarked sedan. Half the detectives in this city. Dante pulled out his phone, scrolled through something. Did she give you anything? Physical evidence? Documents? I started to say no, then remembered. Wait. I set down my glass. She had a phone, one of those cheap burners. She asked me to hold it for her, said if Alexei's people found it in the shelter, they'd know she'd been talking to someone. Dante's entire body went still. Where is it now? My desk, at the crisis center. My stomach dropped. Those men who came today, they tore your desk apart. He was already standing, already moving toward the door. Did they take anything? Did Patricia mention? I don't know. She just said they searched it. He made a phone call. Spoke in rapid Italian or maybe Russian. I couldn't tell his voice, taking on a commanding edge that made every word sound like an order. When he hung up, his expression had shifted into something harder. Giuseppe is going back to check. If that phone is still there, we need it. He looked at me. If it's gone, We have a different problem. What kind of problem? The kind where the Volkovs know you have something they want, and they'll do anything to get it back. We waited. Dante paced. I watched him move through the space, living room to kitchen, kitchen to window, window back to living room. A caged thing wearing a suit. How long have you been? I hesitated over the word. Involved in this life. He glanced over. Careful questions at midnight. You sure you want the answer? I want to understand who I'm trusting with my life. You're not trusting me. You're gambling on me. But he stopped pacing, leaned against the window frame. Outside, the street was dark, empty. My father worked for the Luciano family. My grandfather before him. I was 12 when I understood what that meant. And you stayed. I excelled. No pride in it, just statement. By 16, I was running collections. By 20, enforcement. At 25, my uncle, the family head, made me his consigliere. He smiled without humor. Youngest in the organization's history. My mother was so proud. The sarcasm carried weight I couldn't measure. Do you regret it? Every day. He turned to face me fully. But regret doesn't change what you are. It just makes you better at it. Before I could respond, his phone rang. He answered in Italian. Listened, his expression darkening with each second. Caso, he muttered, then switched to English. Are you certain? No, stay there. I'll handle it. He hung up, looked at me. The phone's gone. But Giuseppe found something else. He pulled up a photo on his screen, showed it to me. A Polaroid, taped to what remained of my desk. The image showed Anna unmistakably her, same scared eyes, same delicate features. But this version wore a formal dress, stood between two men in a lavish room. And she was smiling. The smile looked wrong. Practiced. There's writing on the back, Dante said, zooming in. We remember our investments. I felt cold. They know I helped her. They want you to know they know. He pocketed his phone. This is a message. Psychological warfare before physical action. His jaw tightened. It's also confirmation that someone inside your organization is feeding them information. That's impossible. Everyone who works there. Someone told them where to find you. When you'd be alone. How to make the building accessible. He moved closer, and I saw anger beneath his control. Sloan, one of your people is compromised. The betrayal hit different than Marcus's had. This was worse. These were women I worked beside every day. Women who dedicated their lives to helping others escape violence. I need to warn them, I said. You can't. Dante's voice was gentle but firm. The moment you make contact, you confirm you're alive and accessible. Right now, the Volkovs are watching, waiting to see where you surface. So what do? You stay here, stay quiet. And let me handle this. By doing what? He studied me for a long moment, seemed to be calculating something. There are rules, he said finally. Even in this world, territories, agreements, boundaries. The Volkovs operate in the city under sufferance from the established families. They pay tribute. They don't overstep. And targeting you a civilian with no family connections. No value to any organization that's overstepping. His eyes were black in the dim light. Unless you do have value. Unless you know something worth the risk of violating treaty agreements. But I don't know anything. Anna barely told me. What if she told you more than you realized? He pulled out his phone again, scrolled through to a voice recording app. Close your eyes. Walk me through every conversation you had with her. Every word. Sometimes people bury information without knowing it. So I did. I closed my eyes and went back to those 2 days. Anna's voice soft, accented, frightened. The way she'd clutched her coffee mug with both hands. The things she'd said when she thought I wasn't listening. She mentioned a name. I said slowly, the memory surfacing. In Russian. Or what I assumed was Russian. Something like, Pauk. Dante's breath caught. I opened my eyes. His face had gone carefully blank. What does it mean? I asked. He was quiet for a long time. Spider, he finally said. It means spider. Is that significant? Pauk isn't a name. His voice was very soft. It's a myth. A ghost story the Bratva tells to keep their people in line. He looked at me, and I saw something new in his expression. Respect. Or maybe fear. If Anna knew that name, he said, she wasn't just some trafficked girl. She was inside their organization, deep inside. Then where is she now? Dante's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, and his expression shifted into something I couldn't read. "We're about to find out," he said. "Get your coat." The warehouse sat between two worlds, the gentrified waterfront with its artisan coffee shops and yoga studios on one side, the industrial wasteland of shipping containers and rust on the other. Giuseppe drove us there in silence. I watched Dante from the corner of my eye. He'd changed before we left. Black shirt, black pants, weapons I tried not to count, the shoulder holster, something at his ankle, probably more I couldn't see. He caught me looking. Second thoughts? Constant thoughts. I pulled my coat tighter. "You still haven't explained why we're going to a warehouse at 1 a.m. Because Giuseppe's contacts say Anna was seen there 3 hours ago." My heart jumped. Alive? For now. The words carried implications I didn't want to examine. We pulled up 2 blocks away. Dante turned to me, his expression serious. "You stay in the car, no matter what you see, what you hear. Giuseppe stays with you." He glanced at the driver. "Anyone approaches who isn't me, you drive. Understood?" Giuseppe nodded. "Wait." I grabbed Dante's arm before he could open the door, felt the muscle tense under my hand. "What are you going to do?" "Retrieve information." He looked at where my fingers pressed into his sleeve. "And maybe a person, if I can." "This is insane." "We should call the police. The police are why she ran." He covered my hand with his, just for a second. His palm was warm, calloused. "I need you to trust me for the next 20 minutes, Sloane. Can you do that?" I should have said no. Should have demanded he take me back to the townhouse. Should have called Patricia. Should have done anything except nod. But I nodded. He slipped out of the car like smoke. I lasted 7 minutes. 7 minutes of watching the warehouse, the broken windows on the second floor, the loading dock where a single light burned yellow and weak. 7 minutes of imagining what was happening inside. Then I heard the gunshot. Single crack, sharp and immediate, cutting through the ambient noise of the waterfront. Giuseppe swore in Italian, reached for something under his jacket. "We have to help him," I said. "Signora," he said. I don't care what he said. I was out of the car before Giuseppe could stop me. The warehouse door hung open. Inside, darkness cut by shafts of light from street lamps outside, creating a geometric pattern of shadow and visibility. I heard voices. Russian, maybe. Angry. Then Dante's voice. Calm and cold. "Put the gun down, Mikhail. This doesn't concern you. Everything in my city concerns me." I crept closer, using the stacked shipping containers as cover. My heart hammered so hard I thought they'd hear it. Around the corner, I saw them. Dante stood in the center of the loading floor, hands visible but relaxed. Facing him, 3 men. 2 with guns drawn. 1 older, scarred, wearing a leather jacket despite the warm night, standing with his arms crossed. And behind them, tied to a chair in the spill of that single light, Anna. She looked worse than I remembered. Thinner, bruised, but alive. Her eyes found mine. I saw her mouth form a word. Run. Too late. We have a spectator. The man in the leather jacket Mikhail hadn't turned, but somehow he knew. "Dante, you bring friends to our negotiation?" Dante's expression didn't change, but I saw his jaw tighten. "Let her go. She's not part of this." "She is exactly part of this." Mikhail turned then, and I saw his face, flat Slavic features, eyes like ice. The social worker. The one who helped our investment escape. One of the armed men grabbed me before I could move. His grip was iron. I didn't fight. Couldn't. Dante's eyes met mine across the distance. I expected anger. Instead, I saw calculation. Assessment. "Now we all talk," Mikhail said pleasantly. "Like civilized people," he gestured. The man holding me dragged me forward, pushed me down next to Anna's chair. She was crying silently. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have." "Quiet." Mikhail's voice cracked like a whip. She flinched. Dante hadn't moved. "Mikhail, you and I both know this violates the agreement between our families. The Lucianos don't interfere with your operations. You don't touch civilians under our protection." "She is under your protection?" Mikhail laughed. "Since when?" "Since I removed her name from your procurement list this morning." Dante's voice stayed level. "She's mine now." The possessive pronoun sent something electric down my spine. "Interesting." Mikhail pulled out a cigarette, lit it slowly. "And the girl? Is she yours too?" "No, but I'm making an offer to purchase." Anna made a small sound. "She is not for sale," Mikhail said. "She knows too much. Saw too much. She becomes example. He blew smoke. But you, Dante. You I respect. So I make different offer. Walk away. Take your social worker. Leave Anna to us. Everyone lives. Very clean. I looked at Dante. Saw him weigh it. Saw the calculation happening behind those dark eyes, the cost-benefit analysis of 2 lives versus organizational politics versus whatever game he was playing that I couldn't see. No, he said. Mikhail's expression hardened. I give you respect. You throw it back? I'm offering you money. 200,000 for the girl. Dante took a step forward. The armed men tensed. She's a liability to you, Mikhail. Witnesses who run always are. But I can make her disappear properly. No questions. No problems. And if I say no, then we have a different conversation. Dante's hand moved subtle, just enough to his jacket. One that involves your nephew, the one I'm currently housing in my secondary property on Vine Street, the one who's been skimming from your shipments for 6 months. The silence that followed was absolute. Mikhail's cigarette burned down, ash dropping to the concrete. You bluff, he said finally. Dante pulled out his phone, showed the screen. I couldn't see what was on it, but Mikhail could. His face went rigid. You dare. I dare a lot of things. Dante pocketed the phone. But I prefer to do business. 200,000. The girl. We walk out. You get your nephew back unharmed, and we both forget this happened. And if I kill you right now? Take both women and my nephew? Giuseppe has instructions. If I don't walk out of here in 10 minutes, the information about your nephew and your operation, and your connections to certain city officials goes to every family in the Northeast. Dante smiled, sharp and dangerous. You'll be dead by morning. But at least you'll have these 2 women. Seems like a bad trade. I'd stopped breathing. Anna had gone very still beside me. Mikhail stared at Dante for what felt like an hour. Then he nodded once. Take them. Get out. And Dante? He dropped his cigarette, crushed it under his heel. This makes us enemies. We were always enemies, Mikhail. This just makes it official. The man holding me let go. Dante moved fast, cut Anna's bonds with a knife I hadn't seen him draw, pulled her up with one hand and grabbed my wrist with the other. Walk, he said quietly. Don't run. Don't look back. We walked. Out through the warehouse. Through the door. Into the night air that tasted like salt and gasoline, and freedom. Giuseppe had the car running. We got in. He drove. Behind us, the warehouse receded into darkness. You saved her, I whispered. Dante was checking Anna's injuries with practiced efficiency. I bought her. Different thing. You risked your life. I risked a negotiation. He looked at me then, and I saw exhaustion beneath the control. Don't make me into a hero, Sloane. I'm not. But his hand was still on my wrist, and he didn't let go. The townhouse felt different with 3 of us in it. Smaller, more alive. Dante installed Anna in the bedroom he'd originally offered me, then disappeared to make phone calls in a language I couldn't follow. I sat with her while she showered, heard her crying through the door, soft and broken. When she emerged, wrapped in a towel with her wet hair dripping on the hardwood, she looked younger than I remembered. 22, maybe 23. A child playing at survival. I have clothes, I started. Why did he save me? She interrupted, her accent thicker when she was tired. Men like that, they don't save people. He paid for you. Yes. But why? She sat on the edge of the bed, picking at the towel's hem. I am nobody. I know things, yes, but I cannot prove. I have no evidence. I am just broken thing. I moved to sit beside her. You're not a thing. You're a person who survived. Survival is not life. She looked at me with eyes that had seen too much. You understand this, I think. Your husband. He hurt you too, yes? The assumption stung because it was partially true, not physically. But Marcus had taken things from me. Trust, security, the belief that I could recognize danger before it consumed me. In different ways, I said quietly. Anna nodded. Men always hurt. Is their nature. Even the ones who pretend to save you. She glanced toward the door, where Dante's voice rumbled from downstairs. Especially those ones. I found Dante in the kitchen at 3 a.m. He stood at the counter with a glass of whiskey and a file folder spread in front of him. His shirt sleeves rolled up, hair disheveled from running his hands through it. He looked up when I entered. Can't sleep? Can you? Haven't tried. He gestured to the folder. Giuseppe pulled Anna's immigration records. Want to know what we found? I moved closer, looked down at the documents. Official letterhead, stamps, signatures. Her visa was legitimate, Dante said. Sponsored by a company called Baltic Imports LLC. Except Baltic Imports doesn't import anything. It's a shell corporation registered too. He flipped a page. 3 different holding companies, all of which trace back to the Volkov Bratva. They brought her here legally. They bring dozens here legally. Work visas, student visas, even tourist visas. All legitimate on paper. Then once the women arrive, he took a sip of whiskey. The visa becomes leverage. Debt becomes chains. Legal becomes illegal. So slowly you don't notice the transition. I sat down heavily. And the police know? Some do. Some are paid to look away. Some genuinely don't realize how deep it goes. He closed the folder. The detective Anna was afraid of. I made some calls. His name is Richard Chen, 20-year veteran, decorated, clean record. But his daughter married a man named Yuri Volkov 3 years ago. Dante's expression was grim. Family ties make people do complicated things. Like ignore trafficking. Like redirect investigations, lose evidence, encourage victims not to testify. He finished his whiskey in one swallow. Chen's not evil. He's just trapped in a system where the choice is between his daughter's safety and his conscience. I thought about all the women I'd helped over the years. How many of their cases had disappeared into bureaucratic limbo. How many times I'd been told there wasn't enough evidence, couldn't pursue charges, had to let it go. It's everywhere, I said quietly. Isn't it? This corruption. Corruption implies deviation from a norm. Dante poured more whiskey this time, 2 glasses. Slid one to me. This is the norm. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. To protect power. To maintain hierarchies. To ensure that people like the Volkovs can operate with impunity as long as they pay the right people and keep the violence quiet. That's bleak. That's honest. He met my eyes over his glass. Which is why what you do matters. The crisis center, helping women escape. You're not fixing the system. You're building an alternative to it. One person at a time. The compliment caught me off guard. I thought you said I was naive. I said you were in danger. Different thing. He took a smaller sip this time. Naive would be thinking the system will change. What you're doing is subversive. In the best way. We sat in silence for a moment. The whiskey burned less this time. Can I ask you something? I said. You can ask. I might not answer. That scar, the one through your eyebrow. I gestured vaguely. How did you get it? He touched it reflexively, like he'd forgotten it was there. My uncle. When I was 17. I questioned an order. He reminded me what questioning costs. That's the life. He said it simply. You learn or you die. I learned. Do you still question him? Something flickered across his face. Humor, maybe, or pain. Not out loud, but in here? I tapped my chest, over my heart, every single day. He set down his glass. You think I don't know what I am, Sloane? What I've done? The choices I've made? His voice dropped. I count them. Every one. And I tell myself that when the ledger finally balances, when the cost outweighs the benefit, I'll walk away. Why haven't you? Because I'm good at it. He leaned back, and in the dim kitchen light he looked older, tired. And because the alternative leaving means everything I've done was for nothing. All the violence, all the choices. They have to mean something, have to serve some purpose. Even if that purpose is wrong, especially then. He looked at me, and I saw something raw beneath the control. At least if I'm good at being wrong, I can control the damage. Make rules. Protect people when I can. Try to be less terrible than the alternatives. I understood then. The careful way he'd handled Anna. The precision with which he'd negotiated with Mikhail. The townhouse, full of expensive things but empty of any real warmth. Dante Luciano was a man building a fortress out of compromises. You saved us tonight, I said quietly. Anna and me. That has to count for something. I bought you. His voice was gentle but firm. And that debt will come due eventually. It always does. What do you want from me? He stood, came around the counter. Stopped close enough that I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. I don't know yet, he admitted. Which is the first honest thing I've said all night. His hand came up slowly, giving me time to pull away, and brushed a strand of hair from my face. His fingers were warm. Careful. You should sleep, he said. Tomorrow we figure out what to do with Anna. How to keep you safe. I kissed him. It wasn't planned. wasn't smart. I just needed to know if this thing pulling between us was real, or just proximity and fear. He froze for a heartbeat. Then his hand curved around the back of my neck and he kissed me back. It was nothing like I'd imagined. Not rough or demanding. Gentle. Almost questioning. Like he was asking permission for something we'd both already agreed to. When we pulled apart, his forehead rested against mine. "That was a mistake," he whispered. "Probably. You should go upstairs." I know. Neither of us moved. His thumb traced my jawline, and I felt my breath catch. Sloane. My name sounded different in his voice. Softer. "I can't promise you safety. Can't promise you anything except that staying near me is dangerous and stupid." And I kissed him again. This time he didn't pull back. I woke up alone. The bed beside me was empty, but still warm. Dante's scent, bergamot, and something darker lingered on the pillow. Sunlight cut through the blinds in precise lines. I'd slept in his room, in his bed, with him wrapped around me like armor until sometime before dawn when he'd slipped away. We hadn't done more than kiss, then hold each other in the dark while the city breathed outside the windows. But it felt more intimate than anything I'd experienced with Marcus in 6 years of marriage. That thought made me feel guilty and liberated in equal measure. I found him downstairs with Anna, both of them speaking rapid Russian over coffee. They stopped when I entered. "Good morning," Dante said, his voice careful, neutral, like last night hadn't happened. Anna looked between us, then stood. "I go shower. Give you privacy." "You don't have to." "Yes," she smiled, small and knowing. "I do." When she was gone, the silence stretched. "Coffee?" Dante offered. "Please." He poured, handed me a mug. Our fingers brushed. "We need to talk about last night," he said. My stomach dropped. "If you're going to tell me it was a mistake, it was." He held up a hand before I could respond, but not for the reasons you think. I waited. He leaned against the counter, putting space between us. "I don't do relationships, Sloane. Can't afford to. The people I care about become leverage. Targets. My last..." He stopped, jaw working. "Someone I cared about died because of me. Because I wasn't careful enough, wasn't smart enough. Let my feelings compromise my judgment. I'm not asking for a relationship. Aren't you?" His eyes met mine. "Because that kiss felt like a beginning. And I don't do beginnings, only endings." The words hurt more than they should have. "Then why did you kiss me back?" "Because I'm selfish." He said it simply. "Because you looked at me like I was worth saving. And I wanted to believe it, just for a minute. You are worth..." "Don't." His voice sharpened. "Don't make me into something I'm not. Last night I threatened to kill a man's nephew. I've done worse. I'll do worse again." He set down his coffee cup with careful precision. "I can protect you. I can help you. But I can't be what you need." "And what do I need?" "Someone good." He looked away. "Someone who won't get you killed." Before I could respond, his phone rang. He checked the screen, and his expression changed. "I have to take this." He stepped out of the kitchen, spoke in low, urgent tones. When he returned, his face was carved from stone. "What happened?" I asked. "The crisis center. Someone torched it last night. The building was still smoking when we arrived. Fire trucks, police cars, news vans." Patricia stood on the sidewalk with the other staff, wrapped in a blanket despite the warm morning. Mascara tracked down her cheeks. I got out of the car before Dante could stop me. "Sloane, thank God." Patricia grabbed me in a fierce hug. "I thought you might have been inside. When you didn't answer your phone..." "I'm fine. I'm so sorry. Is anyone hurt?" "No. It happened at 3 a.m. The building was empty." She pulled back, looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. "The fire marshal says it was arson. Accelerant used. Professional job. Professional." I looked back at Dante, standing by his car. He gave a small nod. "The Volkovs." "This is my fault," I whispered. "What?" "No. It is." I took Patricia's hands. "Marcus got involved with dangerous people. They came looking for me. And now we rebuild." Her voice was firm despite the tears. "We've survived worse. We'll survive this." But I saw the doubt in her eyes. The fear. A detective approached older man. Gray hair, kind face. My stomach turned before he even spoke. "Miss Patterson? I'm Detective Chen. I need to ask you some questions about the fire." Patricia nodded, followed him toward one of the police cars. I stood frozen. Dante appeared beside me. "We need to leave." "That's him." the detective Anna was afraid of. I know. His hand pressed against my lower back, guiding me away. Which is why we can't be here when he starts asking about you. Back at the townhouse, Anna was gone. Her room was empty. The clothes we'd given her still folded on the bed. No note. No explanation. Just absence. She ran, Dante said flatly, checking the windows, the doors. Sometime in the last hour. Why would she? Because she's smart. He turned to me. She knows what being near me costs. What it will cost you if you stay. The fire wasn't your fault. Yes, it was. He pulled out his phone, started typing. I took you from them. I bought Anna. I made myself their enemy. This is how they respond. By destroying what you love. By making the cost visible. So what do we do? He looked up, and I saw something break in his expression. I end this, he said quietly. Before anyone else gets hurt. What does that mean? It means I go to war with the Volkovs. Properly. No negotiation, no compromise. His jaw tightened. It means I do what I'm good at. What I've always been good at. Violence. Justice, he corrected. There's a difference. Is there? He moved closer, cupped my face with both hands. I need you to leave, Sloane. Tonight. Giuseppe will drive you anywhere you want to go. New city, new identity. Clean break. I'm not running. You have to. Because if you stay, his voice cracked. If you stay, I won't be able to protect you and fight them. I'll be too worried about where you are, if you're safe, if they've gotten to you, and that distraction will get us both killed. Then let me fight with you. No. Absolute. Why not? Because you matter. The words exploded out of him. Because you're good and kind, and you actually help people, and the world needs that more than it needs another killer. Because if I let you stay and something happens to you, I won't survive it. Not again. The confession hung between us. Who did you lose? I asked softly. He let his hands drop, stepped back. Her name was Elena. She worked for a rival family. We thought we could bridge the gap. Thought love was stronger than loyalty. His laugh was bitter. We were wrong. They used her to get to me, made me watch while he didn't finish. Didn't have to. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm asking you to learn from my mistake. He looked at me with eyes that had seen too much. Leave, Sloane. While you still can, while I can still let you go. And if I say no, then I'll have Giuseppe take you anyway. You can't force me. Watch me. We stared at each other across 3 feet of hardwood floor. Then his phone rang again. He answered, listened, and his face went white. When? A pause. Where is she now? Another pause. I'm coming. He hung up, looked at me with something like devastation. They have Anna, he said, and they're offering a trade. Her life for yours. The meeting point was a church. Street Catherine's, abandoned for a decade, crumbling beautifully in the old quarter where tourists never ventured. Gothic arches and shattered stained glass. A place where violence could happen quietly. This is insane, Giuseppe said from the driver's seat. They will kill you both. Probably. Dante checked his weapons with mechanical precision. Gun, knife. Something else I couldn't identify. Which is why you're not coming in, Dante. That's an order. He looked at his driver, his friend, I realized, and something soft passed between them. If we're not out in 30 minutes, you call my uncle. Tell him everything. Make sure the Volkovs pay. Giuseppe's jaw worked. Finally, he nodded. Dante turned to me. Last chance. Giuseppe can have you in another state by midnight. No, Sloane. She came to me for help. I'm not abandoning her. She ran from you this morning, because she was scared. That doesn't mean she deserves to die. I met his eyes. And you know I'm right. That's why you're going. He was quiet for a moment. Then, stay behind me. Do exactly what I say. And if I tell you to run, I won't. Sloane, you don't get to make that choice for me. I kept my voice steady despite the fear crawling up my spine. I'm coming. Accept it. Something shifted in his expression. Not quite approval, but close. You're infuriating, he said. I'm learning from the best. The church's front door hung open like a mouth. We entered together, Dante slightly ahead, his body positioned to shield me. Inside smelled like rot and candle wax. They were waiting in the sanctuary. Mikhail stood before the altar, flanked by 4 men with guns. In the center, tied to a pew, Anna. Her face was bruised, fresh blood at her temple. She saw us and started crying. Dante. Mikhail's voice echoed in the empty space. You bring her. Good. Let Anna go, Dante said. That was the deal. Deal changes. Mikhail smiled. Now I keep both. You die. Very simple. Dante's laugh was dark. You think I came alone? My people are watching. You kill me, you start a war you can't win. War already started, when you took what was mine. Anna isn't property. In my world, everything is property. Mikhail gestured to his men. Even you. The guns came up. I stopped breathing. Dante didn't flinch. Before your men fire, you should know something. What? The building is surrounded. I made calls before we arrived. Every family in the city knows you're here, knows what you're doing. Break the treaty. Kill me in a church. He smiled, cold and sharp. You'll be dead before dawn. You lie. Do I? Dante pulled out his phone, pressed a button. Suddenly the church wasn't empty. Shadows moved in the balcony. Behind pillars. Shapes with guns, with knives. With the patient stillness of predators. Mikhail's men shifted nervously. I brought my family, Dante said quietly. All of them. You want war? Here it is. The standoff stretched. I counted heartbeats, counted breaths. Then Mikhail lowered his gun. Smart choice, Dante said. Not smart, practical. Mikhail nodded to one of his men. Cut the girl loose. Anna was freed. She stumbled toward us, and I caught her. Now we leave, Dante said. All of us. And you never come near Sloane or Anna again. And if I do, then there is no treaty, no rules, just blood. Dante's voice was silk over steel. Your choice. Mikhail stared at him for a long moment. Then he laughed. You have balls, Luciano. I respect this. He turned to leave, paused. But respect doesn't last forever. Remember this. His men followed him out. When the church was empty, truly empty, the shadows in the balcony disappearing like smoke, I let myself breathe. Are you okay? I asked Anna. She nodded, trembling. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought if I went back, if I made deal, it's okay. I held her while she cried. Dante was on his phone, speaking rapid Italian, coordinating, planning, being the man he'd always been. When he finished, he looked at us both. We need to move. Now. The safe house was different this time. Bigger, more secure. Armed men at every entrance. Dante's uncle's house, Giuseppe explained. The family seat. I helped Anna to a guest room, stayed while a doctor examined her injuries. Minor, he said. Bruising, concussion. Nothing permanent. Physical damage, anyway. When she was settled, I found Dante on a balcony overlooking the city. He stood at the railing, still in his blood-free but battle-ready clothes, staring at lights that stretched to the horizon. That was close, I said. Too close. He didn't look at me. I gambled. Put you both at risk. If Mikhail had called my bluff, but he didn't. This time. His hands gripped the railing. Next time, we might not be lucky. I moved beside him, felt the night air cool on my skin. There won't be a next time. You scared him, made him believe you had the power to destroy him. I do have that power. He finally looked at me. That's what scares me. Why? Because I used it for you. Risked my family's safety for a woman I barely know. That's not strategic. That's not smart. That's human. He flinched. I can't afford to be human. Everyone can afford it. You just have to decide it's worth the cost. We stood in silence, the city breathing below us. I was 17 when my uncle made me watch my first execution, Dante said quietly. The man had betrayed our family, stolen money. Small amount, really. Few $1,000s. But the principle mattered more than the sum. I stayed quiet, let him talk. My uncle handed me the gun, told me to do it, to prove my loyalty. His voice was flat, reciting facts. I couldn't. I was just a kid. I'd never... He stopped, breathed. So he did it himself. Then he beat me unconscious for my weakness. Dante, I tell you this because you need to understand what I am, what made me. He turned to face me fully. I've killed people, Sloane. Not in self-defense, not in war, just because my uncle ordered it, because that's what family means in my world. Absolute obedience. That's not family. That's a cult. Maybe. He smiled without humor. But it's the only one I have. I reached for his hand. He let me take it. You saved Anna tonight. You saved me. I squeezed his fingers. Those things matter more than what you've done in the past. Do they? Yes. He studied me for a long moment. You shouldn't look at me like that. Like what? Like I'm worth saving. Too bad. I stepped closer. I'm stubborn, I noticed. He kissed me, then slow and deep and desperate, like he was trying to memorize the taste of something good before it disappeared. When we finally pulled apart, his forehead rested against mine. Stay, he whispered. Just tonight. Tomorrow we figure out the rest. Okay. Okay? Yeah, I smiled. Okay. I woke to sunlight and the smell of coffee. Dante's side of the bed was empty again, but this time I heard his voice downstairs, calm, measured, conducting business. I dressed in clothes someone had left folded on a chair. Designer labels, perfect fit. The efficiency of it should have bothered me. It didn't. Downstairs, I found organized chaos. Men in suits occupied the living room, speaking in Italian and Russian and English. Phones rang constantly. Laptops glowed. It looked less like a mafia operation and more like a corporate headquarters. Dante stood at the center, orchestrating. He saw me, said something to the nearest man, and excused himself. Coffee? He offered. Please. We retreated to the kitchen, quieter here, separated from the controlled madness. What's happening? I asked. Cleanup. Mikhail's people are withdrawing from the city. My uncle's negotiating new territorial agreements. And he poured coffee with steady hands. We're dismantling the trafficking operation. All of it. I nearly dropped my mug. How? Anna talked. Gave us names, locations, shipment schedules, everything she knew about Pauk. He handed me the coffee. Turns out the spider isn't a myth. It's a woman. Irina Volkov. Mikhail's sister. She runs the whole operation? She is the operation. Mikhail handles enforcement, but Irina. He shook his head. She's brilliant. Ruthless. Built a network that spans 3 continents. And Anna was one of her top recruiters before she tried to escape. That stopped me. Anna recruited other women? Yes. His voice was gentle. Victims become perpetrators. It's how these systems survive. Promise someone safety, then make them complicit. Suddenly they can't leave without destroying themselves. I thought about Anna's fear. Her guilt. The way she'd said, I know things. Does that change how you see her? Dante asked. No, I meant it. It makes me understand her better. He smiled small, genuine. You're more forgiving than I am, or more realistic about how trauma works. We drank coffee in comfortable silence. What happens to her now? I asked. Witness protection. Federal prosecutors are salivating. With her testimony, they can dismantle the Volkov operation and implicate half the city government. He set down his mug. She'll disappear. New name, new life. She'll be safe. And us? The question hung between us. Dante was quiet for a long moment. I don't know. That's honest. It's all I have. He moved closer, hands finding my waist. I want to tell you this ends cleanly. That you go back to your life. Rebuild the crisis center. Help people. That I stay here and do what I do. That we both move on. But I'm selfish. His thumbs traced circles on my hip bones. And I want you to stay. My breath caught. For how long? I don't know that either. He looked almost vulnerable. I'm not good at this. Relationships, feelings, normal things. I'll probably disappoint you, probably hurt you without meaning to. Probably. I kissed him quiet. When I pulled back, I said, I'm not asking for perfect. I'm asking for honest. I can do honest. Then be honest. Do you want me here? Yes. Do you think you can keep me safe? I'll die trying. Then I'm staying. He searched my face. You're sure? No, I smiled. But I'm doing it anyway. We spent the day sorting chaos. I helped Anna pack federal agents would collect her by nightfall. She cried. I cried. We held each other like survivors always do. Thank you, she whispered. For seeing me, for helping me, for not giving up. Thank you for trusting me, even when it was dangerous. Will you be okay? With him? She glanced toward where Dante was visible through the doorway. I don't know, I admitted. But I want to find out. She smiled. Then you are braver than me. By evening, she was gone. The house felt quieter without her. I found Dante in his study, a room I hadn't seen before. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a desk that had probably cost more than my car, windows overlooking the garden. Didn't peg you for a reader, I said. He looked up from a leather-bound book. First editions. My grandmother's collection. He closed it carefully. She used to say, if you want to understand power, read history. Everyone makes the same mistakes, over and over. I moved to the shelves, ran my fingers along spines. What mistakes are you trying to avoid? All of them. He stood, came to stand beside me. Failing so far, I don't know. You saved Anna, protected me, took on the Volkovs. I looked at him. Seems like you're doing okay. I violated family rules, made enemies, started a war we might not win. His expression was serious. My uncle is displeased. How displeased? The kind where I might need to prove my loyalty again soon. He touched my cheek. The kind where being close to me becomes dangerous. I thought we established I'm okay with dangerous. That was before you knew what it really costs. And what does it cost? He was quiet, thinking. Everything. Everyone. Eventually, I turned to face him fully. Then we make it count. However long we have, that's not Dante. I took his hands. I'm not naive. I know this is complicated. I know you have obligations and enemies, and a life I don't fully understand. But I also know that last night, in that church, you risked everything for people who couldn't offer you anything in return. I squeezed his fingers. That's not the action of a monster. That's the action of someone who still believes some things are worth fighting for, or someone who's become dangerously sentimental. Maybe, I smiled, but I'll take it. He pulled me close, wrapped his arms around me like I was something precious and breakable. We stood there in his grandmother's study, surrounded by books and history, and the accumulated weight of family legacy. I can't promise you normal, he said quietly. I don't want normal. Normal got me a husband who disappeared with debt collectors on my trail. I can't promise you safe. I work at a domestic violence crisis center that just burned down. I've never been safe. I can't promise you forever. Then promise me now. Today. This moment. He pulled back enough to look at me. I promise to keep you safe for as long as I can. To be honest, when I'm able. He hesitated. To try to deserve you. You already do. You're wrong. But he kissed me anyway. Later, when the house was quiet and the city lights created constellations outside the window, we lay together in the dark. What happens tomorrow? I asked. I meet with my uncle. Explain what happened. Accept consequences. What kind of consequences? Don't know yet. His fingers traced patterns on my shoulder. But he'll want something. Payment for the chaos I've caused. And you'll give it to him. I don't have a choice. I turned to face him. You always have a choice. Not in this world. Then maybe it's time to leave this world. He smiled sad and beautiful in the darkness. If only it were that simple. It could be. No, Sloane, it couldn't. His uncle's name was Vincent Luciano. I met him 3 days later. Dante had tried to keep me away from the meeting, but I'd insisted. If I was staying, if I was choosing this life, I needed to see all of it. Vincent's office occupied the top floor of a building downtown. Legal businesses on the lower levels, criminal empire above. The man himself looked nothing like Dante. Shorter, heavier, with silver hair and eyes like chips of ice. He sat behind a mahogany desk that had probably witnessed 1,000 sins, studying me like I was a puzzle he hadn't decided whether to solve or destroy. So, he said, in accented English, this is the woman who started a war. I didn't start anything, I said. No? He smiled without warmth. You helped a girl escape. You involved my nephew. You made him choose you over family interests. That sounds like starting something to me. Dante shifted beside me. Uncle, quiet. Vincent's voice cracked like a whip. I'm speaking to her. The room temperature dropped 10 degrees. The Volkovs want compensation, Vincent continued, for their losses, for the disruption to their operations. They're demanding $5 million. He paused. Or your head on a plate. My stomach turned over. They're not getting either, Dante said flatly. Then how do you propose we resolve this? Vincent leaned back in his chair. You've made us look weak. Made me look weak. That has consequences, nephew. Or have you forgotten the rules? I haven't forgotten. Then you know what I must ask of you. Silence. I looked between them, reading the tension, the history, the weight of obligations I couldn't fully understand. What do you want? I asked Vincent directly. His eyebrows rose. Courage. I like that. He stood, moved to the window overlooking the city. I want Dante to choose, his place in this family, with all the power and protection that offers. Or you. The words landed like bullets. That's not fair. I said. Fair? Vincent laughed. This isn't about fair. This is about loyalty, about priorities, about understanding that in our world, you cannot serve two masters. Dante's hand found mine, squeezed tight. I choose her, he said quietly. The room seemed to stop breathing. Vincent turned slowly. You understand what that means. I do. You'll be cut off. No family protection, no resources, no claim to the Luciano name. Vincent's voice was hard. And if the Volkovs come for you for her, you'll face them alone. I understand. Dante, I started. I understand, he repeated, looking only at me. And I choose her anyway. Vincent studied his nephew for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he smiled. Good. We both stared at him. That was a test, Vincent explained, to see if you've finally grown a spine, independent of family obligation. He returned to his desk, pulled out a folder. The Volkovs don't want compensation. They want a truce. Mikhail fears you, Dante. Fears what you might do with the information Anna provided. So he's willing to negotiate. What are the terms? Dante asked, voice careful. They withdraw from the city completely, dismantle their trafficking operation here. In exchange, we don't prosecute. We don't interfere with their operations in other territories. And Vincent looked at me. They leave Sloane Merrick alone. Forever. It sounded too good to be true. What's the catch? I asked. The catch, Vincent said, is that Dante must guarantee your silence, must ensure you never speak publicly about what you know, never testify, never become a liability. I can agree to that, I said. Can you? Vincent's gaze was sharp. Even if it means women in other cities suffer? Even if your silence allows the Volkovs to continue their operations elsewhere? The question hit like a physical blow. Because he was right. My silence would protect me. Would protect Dante. But it would condemn countless other women to the same fate Anna had barely escaped. I looked at Dante, saw the conflict in his eyes. There's another option, I said slowly. Which is? Vincent asked. I testify, publicly. Give the federal prosecutors everything Anna told me. Help dismantle the entire network, not just the local operation. I took a breath. But I do it under protection. Witness protection. Like Anna. New identity. New life. Dante's hand tightened on mine. That's suicide, he said. The Volkovs have reach everywhere. Witness protection isn't safe. Nothing is safe. I looked at Vincent. But at least this way. Something good comes from all of this. The crisis center burned, but the work continues. The women are saved. The system is disrupted. And you disappear, Dante said quietly. Forever. Yes. The word hung between us. Vincent watched this exchange with something like interest. An interesting proposal. Self-sacrificing. Noble, even. He leaned forward. But there's a third option you haven't considered. What? I asked. You stay. You keep your silence about the Volkovs. But you help us. He gestured to papers on his desk. We have business interests that would benefit from someone with your expertise. Crisis management. Victim advocacy. Helping women who've been harmed by our competitors. You want me to work for the Mafia? I want you to work for justice. We just define it differently than the law does. Vincent's smile was sharp. Think about it. Legitimate resources. Protection. The ability to actually help people instead of filling out forms that go nowhere. It was tempting. Terrifying. But tempting. I need time, I said. You have 24 hours. Vincent stood. Meeting adjourned. We walked back to the car in silence. Giuseppe drove us home through city streets that looked different now, full of shadows and possibilities and dangers I was only beginning to understand. You can't seriously be considering his offer, Dante said finally. Why not? Because it's a trap. He's binding you to the family, making you complicit. Isn't that what happened to you? I looked at him. Someone made you complicit, and now you can't leave. He flinched. That's different. How? Because I was born into this. You have a choice. So did you. You chose to stay. To try to make it better from inside. And look how well that's worked. His voice was bitter. I'm still my uncle's weapon. Still doing things I hate. Still saving people when you can. Still fighting for something better. Still choosing mercy over violence when possible. I took his hand. You're not perfect, Dante, but you're trying. That counts. He was quiet for a long time. What are you going to do? He asked finally. I don't know yet. I watched the city pass by outside. What do you want me to do? I want you safe. I want you happy. I want... He stopped, started again. I want you to have the life you deserve. Not this, not my world. What if your world is where I'm needed? Sloane, answer me honestly. If I work for your uncle, help people through your family's resources, can I make a difference? Real difference? He thought about it. Really thought. Yes, he admitted. Probably more than through official channels. We have reach, money, power. We can relocate women instantly, give them new identities, protect them in ways the system can't. Then maybe that's my answer. You're serious. I'm considering it. I looked at him. But only if you stay with me. Only if we do this together. You're asking me to put you in danger. I'm asking you to let me choose my own danger. I smiled. Like you said, I'm stubborn. He laughed short, surprised, genuine. You really are. So? He pulled me close, kissed my temple. So we have 24 hours to decide if we're crazy enough to do this. I already know I am. Then I guess I am too. We drove home through a city full of broken systems and imperfect solutions, but we drove home together. And maybe, I thought, that was enough. For now, for today, for whatever came next.